Salam. Give thanks to JAH and His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie the First. Rastafari Makonnen. Much love to all the brother and the sister and all Rastafari. Much African love. This is Ras Asante. And I'm here and I'm going to build with you with the book of Proverbs in the King James Bible. Now, the book of Proverbs is associated with King Solomon of Israel, who was supposed to be the wisest king of his time. Okay, so scribes recorded all of his sayings. Okay, so according to 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 32, King Solomon supposedly spoke 3,000 proverbs. You see what I'm saying? So with the book of Proverbs, there's much wisdom and knowledge that one can use in their daily life. So let's get into it. Proverbs chapter 1. The instruction and the exhortation to sons. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. All right, so that right there. Let's build on verse 1 on down to 7. So the Proverbs of Solomon, of the son of David, king of Israel, okay, who said, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. So these proverbs are to know wisdom and instruction. You gain wisdom by studying and heeding to correct instruction, and to perceive the words of understanding. So the book of Proverbs are wisdom so that you can perceive words and understand them, to understand the wisdom within words that are spoken to you. So we go down to 3. It says to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment of equity. All right, so when you hear the wisdom, justice and judgment of equity, you'll be able to hear it because you have the understanding of words and you have the right knowledge in your head. 4 says to give subtly to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. So as a young man, some young men make mistakes. I know me coming up, I made plenty of mistakes. So you have to heed the words of those who are your elders. And when you're young, you're immature. You hear what they're saying, but your immaturity gets in the way. But these proverbs are for a young man to gain wisdom as well. You see what I'm saying? Number 5 says, a wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. So wise man is going to heed the wisdom from up front. And from that wisdom, he's just gonna learn more wisdom. His wisdom will increase, and him having understanding, he'll understand the wisdom of the wise words being spoken. Okay, 6 says to understand the proverb and the interpretation of words of the wise and their dark sayings. All right, so you'll be able to interpret things that most people they won't have, because they're rebellious to knowledge or might not care for knowledge. They might not understand things or be able to interpret it or perceive the knowledge into something that seems kind of dark and gory, or it seems strange to them. But one who has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding understands completely. Okay, 7. Let's go down to 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause, let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoils. Stop right there. Let's go back to 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Okay. In the so-called black community, within the society of the black community, we see how people live their lives. We can see a difference between somebody who has dignity and uprightness and has laws about themselves. Simple fact, there's people who live lawless, can care less about the Bible or JAH. They out doing for self. You see what I'm saying? So the wisdom comes with those who love God and accept knowledge for what it is. But fools, they don't want to read a book. They don't like to read. They don't like instruction. Can't tell them nothing. They think they know everything. They like foolishness, the ways of the world. That seems like the only way to them is foolishness. They feel that they are the law and they don't have to obey any laws or live by any laws, because they don't have respect, thus are not going to respect any laws, let alone the laws of the Most High. Right? In 8 it says, my son, hear the instructions of thy father, and forsake not the laws of thy mother. So in some households we have father and mother, and some you might just have a father. In some households you might just have a single mother. But in any case, when those who are upright and who are your guardians are teaching you something, telling you something, you have to be able to think on a straight path. Some people may feel that their parents don't know what they're talking about, but I know people who are not here because they didn't listen to their parents. You see what I'm saying? You need to listen to your parents. If the parents is not upright, then that would be, something to, take into consideration. I mean, not all parents are upright, but if your parents are telling you right from wrong, telling you to do right, you don't go doing wrong. It says, and forsake not the law of thy mother. If your mother is a church-going Christian, it is what it is. But you can learn a lot from mothers, because mothers are your first teacher. And they do their best to teach their kids, son or daughter. If she's telling you things, laws about the Bible, don't forsake the laws. Use it to your advantage. Study it. Take what's good from what she's telling you. Because in the end, the things that your father and your mother teach you are going to save your life. As long as it's in the will of the Heavenly Father, that is. Number 9 says, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. The laws of the Most High, the Proverbs and the Oracles, they're like jewels. Some people, fools don't see them as jewels, but they're jewels. Number 9 says, they're like ornaments of grace into thy head. They're like a crown on your head. It's like a big gold chain, big old gold chain, rubies and diamonds on it. That's how the knowledge is. It gives you the advantage, and it shows you how to live on this planet. Because there's a right way and a wrong way to live on the planet. Let's continue on with 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood, let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up, alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find our precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. So in today's society, you look at places like Brazil, or it's poor. There's poverty in the United States, of course. All that stuff they show on TV is false. People are poor in the United States. They're poor in Central America, in the Caribbean they're poor. In the United States, they're going around, they have this new thing where they like to go rob people. Yeah, people who think that they shouldn't have to work. The work is robbing you, one who works. So this is foolishness because, for instance, I'm living in the state of Georgia, and in the state of Georgia, they have a crime problem, a very bad crime problem. They boast about it, and they have these false rappers making this false music that, yes, these Jewish people who own these companies and A&Rs have them promoting this wickedness among the black people to keep them confused. And they made up this imaginary hustler go get them type of culture that's not real. So they hear these things on the music and they try to go live it out. They go around all day in Georgia robbing, stealing, and killing. It's horrible, but usually the person ends up getting themselves killed, or they kill somebody, or they get caught and now they in jail for the rest of their life, or they doing hard time. You're doing some years. There's no wisdom in that. Go get a job, or make yourself a job. There's too many ways you can make money instead of making money that way by trying to take something from somebody who worked for it. It's wickedness. Anybody tells you, hey man, we got this gig, this place, this bank or this person got money, let's go rob them. We can put on masks, we got a getaway card, this, that, and the third. It's not wisdom. Eventually that person is going to get themselves killed. So you want to stay away from that. It makes no sense to be around somebody like that if you're trying to live upright, that is. Listen to the oracles of the Most High JAH and live your life upright. Let's continue down 17. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privately for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of grain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Stop right there. You're gonna end up. You think you're stealing from somebody, but you only stealing from yourself, even though you don't recognize it. You're doing things to pretty much destroy yourself. That's going to be it's like putting a pot of water on the fire and turning it up on high. Eventually it's going to boil over, you know, and the outcome is fire, hellfire. Okay, so you have to use wisdom and discretion in this wicked society. There is no in between. You're either wicked or you're righteous. And Jah's law is the savior. It's what saves you. So let's go down to 20. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief place of concourse. In the openings of the gates, in the city, she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and ye refuse, I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught of all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. So we go back to 20. Wisdom crieth without. She uttereth her voice in the streets. There's wisdom all around, especially in this day and age. There's nothing hidden. The facts are not hidden. There's wisdom all around. You have the internet. You have libraries where lies and truth are buried. The books are there. There's archaeology that can pull out truth as well. The facts are not hidden. Now, you're going to either choose wisdom or choose to be a mental slave. Because some fools are happy with nothing. They love the devil because the devil gives them nothing. And people there, the person who is foolish and doesn't have wisdom seeks to fulfill their desires. Why? Because their oppressors say, this is the way of life. Fulfill your desires. There is no God. So fulfill your desires. Forget about God. That's the game. They take you off into their matrix of foolishness. So you have to separate, right? So 21 says, She crieth in the chief places of concourse. In the openings of the gates, in the city she uttereth her words, saying, How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Wisdom is right in your face. You just have to want to accept it. You have to study. I study. Everybody has to study. And people, they scorn. They make comments about the Bible. Oh, it's the slave religion. The white man, the Caucasian wrote the Bible, and they scorn at it. They laugh at it, because they have these Asian preachers who have they use the church and the Bible to make money, and that's what the Bible is not for that. But they play on the foolishness of the people. They tell the people what they want to hear, and get paid for telling the people what they want to hear because they like simplicity and foolishness. They're fools that hate knowledge. They hate knowledge but love money because their oppressors tell them that they should love money. That's the way. I got it, you can get it. Everything else doesn't make sense. They love foolishness and mock at and scorn at knowledge. You see what I'm saying? The Bible condemns, All throughout the Bible, it condemns homosexuality. Romans and Greeks, it condemns homosexuality. It condemns, actually, in the book of Obadiah, it condemns, I would say, the Greco-Roman ruler, the Indo-European ruler altogether in the book of Obadiah. So why would they write a book like that? And by the way, King James was an African Hebrew, Ethiopian Hebrew, however you want to, Hebrew Israelite, however you want to say it. He was an African. He wasn't a European. And they were African Hebrews living up in Europe. And the Greeks, they invaded Western Europe. That's how they got to Germany and those different places. They were already Africans there ruling. All right, so don't reject, don't laugh and scoff at knowledge. Study. All right, so let's go down to 24. Because I have called and ye refuse, I have stretched out my hands and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel and with none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me clearly, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. Stop right there at 29. You had your chance. There's going to come a time, and it's coming real fast, where they're trying to, look right now, they know that people are learning on social media, like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all these different places. Two things going on. Either you learning sodomite, demonology on social media, or you learning the oracles of the Most High, because it's all there. And people are learning the truth, and they're learning laws real fast. So they're passing laws, and y'all celebrating Christmas and New Year's, out partying, getting drunk, urinating on yourself. They're passing laws and different things, trying to go around the Constitution and different things, so they could do things so that they could stay in power, make sure that they stay in power. Because right now the war, honestly, is against JAH children. So you had your chance, and you still have a chance to learn the oracles of the Most High. Because there's going to come a time where there ain't going to be nobody to teach you. And you're going to be all by yourself to learn. You see what I'm saying? So you need to learn while you can. You need to listen and heed knowledge, research. The Most High is saying, when your fear cometh as desolation, this is in 27, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 27. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me clearly, but they shall not find me. Meaning, you gonna call, you having fun now, but it's going down, then it's gonna hit you like a whirlwind out the blue. That's how all throughout the Bible, that's how the Most High, that's how he gets you when you slipping. You see what I'm saying? Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, Pompeii, it goes on and on. Planetary flood, people acting the fool, they got dealt with, but when they least expected, and they was mocking the Most High JAH. You see what I'm saying? And basically, the end result is death. You gonna call on the Most High. It says in 28, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me clearly, but they shall not find me. He's not gonna even answer you. You're gonna be crying out, because you knew you're gonna know you screwed up. People try to tell you. You was on social media talking about the King James was a homosexual, and some cavemen wrote the Bible up in Mount Seir or the Caucasus Mountains, which they don't have nothing to do with the Bible. It was even an African that had to translate it into English, King James, African Hebrew. You did all that talking, then you're going to find out you was wrong, because the prophecies in the Bible haven't failed yet. On point, 1,000%. On that day, you're going to call out to the Most High, and you ain't going to get no help. It's going to be too late. Everything's going to be sealed. The children of darkness, the Greco-Roman sodomites going to have 666 in their head. The JAH children of the sun, Ethiopian Hebrews, Africans are going to have 777 in theirs. Done deal. Let's go down to 29. For they that hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Proverbs chapter 2. The instructions and exhortation to the sons. My son, if thou wilt receive my words, and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom, and apply thine heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge, and lifteth up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver, and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, and find the knowledge of God. Stop right there at 5. So we got here Proverbs chapter 2, verse 1 through 5, saying, My son, if thou wilt receive my words, and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom, and apply thine heart to understanding. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge, and lift up thy voice for understanding. If you seek knowledge like silver and gold and diamonds, your dollars, your euros, your pounds, British pound sterling, and all these different things that you have, like a pirate. A pirate seeks for gold treasure. The Buccaneers, Blackbeard, Captain Morgan, all of them, pirates, they going around stealing, searching, trying to steal other people's treasures. If you search for knowledge and understanding and fear the Most High, knowledge of God, 6 says, For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. You will receive knowledge and understanding if you have the will to search. You out hustling, for the money and different things. Once you hustle for knowledge, when you hustle for knowledge, that pituitary gland is open, and you're spiritual. You're able to understand what the scriptures are saying, and thus know how to live on the planet and deal with the wicked and the righteous alike. Okay, so 6, For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walketh uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgment, and preserveth the ways of his saints. So the Most High gives wisdom to those who heed to the oracles of the Most High. Knowledge and understanding is coming out of this Bible. The wisdom is for the righteous people, JAH children. He's a buckler. He's a warrior for those who walketh upright. You see what I'm saying? The Most High is your protection for those who walk it upright. You a walking temple of the Most High. That's how you should live your life. Going on to 8, he says, He keepeth the paths of judgment, and preserveth the ways of his saints. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity. Yea, every good path, when wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul. Discretion shall preserve thee. understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things, who leaveth, who leave the path of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of the wicked. Okay, so that's at stop at 14. So right here, saying that the wisdom is a blessing that's put into the heart, and from that knowledge that you receive is pleasant, and it gives you discretion and discernment and understanding, when you're dealing with people, and it'll save you from evil people. People, they start talking, and people start talking and go off into something else because their mind is not right anyway, because they're possessed by the demonic forces of the society, and they've been trained like dogs, and the mind has been infiltrated with wickedness. You see what I'm saying? So you can't be around that. Only way you wicked is if you want to be wicked. That's pretty much it. Your being's a choice. So the person who leaves the path of righteousness, because they know the path of righteousness, they choose to be ignorant. And, for one to lead the path of righteousness means that they've gone into a self mode, because it's never really been about self among Africans, it's about us. And when you get into that type of mode, you really mess up. There's nothing wrong with having something, but all in all, when you get into the self, there's confusion with that, because you become self-centered and you end up worshiping yourself. You've left the path of the Almighty to walk in the ways of darkness. The ways of the world is the ways of darkness, the worldly life. Because the worldly life, they rejoice in evil. Turn on the TV, everything wicked they promote on TV. They promote it. The news, the morning sitcoms, nightly sitcoms, their commercials, their sports, the lifestyle, the worship of money and cars. In the United States, they've made lesbian homosexuality marriage legal and trying to put it on other countries. Also trying to put it on Mama Africa, and we're not having that. You see what I'm saying? So this is the wicked ways of the world. 15 goes on to say, whose ways are crooked, and they forward in their paths, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words, which forsaketh the guide of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. Right? Because, some of these, a lot of these women, men and women, but women in particular, they in the world, they in the music industry, in the acting industry, For instance, a lot of these singers, these women singers, they started off in the church, singing in the church choir, and they could sing real good. That's where they developed their skills. You would think, if they really knew the Bible, would they really go off into the world like that? And that music industry is wicked. They forsake the ways of the Most High, the covenant they have with God, to go sing for the devil, because that's the devil's industry anyway. That's his industry. Nowadays, the gospel industry is starting to make more than the worldly industry. But most of those gospel singers, they're not really about the Bible anyway. They're about entertainment. And God the Most High is not in the churches. They have, the church is being used for the homosexual agenda and the entertainment industry, in the money industry, the worship of finance. They're not worshiping Xavier, they're worshiping the dollar bill. the diamonds, the things of the world, the gold, diamonds, and silver. That's what they worship, and they're not worshiping the Most High in most of those churches. So I learned more about the Bible when I stopped going to the church house. So on the 18, for her house inclineth unto death, and her path unto the dead. Go back up to 17. Actually, let's go up to 16. To deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words, which forsaketh the guide of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. For her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life, that thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of righteousness. So, men, if you are a true disciple of the Almighty, and you don't walk in the ways of the wicked, and you set apart, separated from the world, you have to deal with a woman who's the same, because you'll become unequally yoked. These women, they'll take you, they'll influence you if you're not a strong man. But if you're a strong man, you wouldn't want to deal with a woman like that anyway, now would you? You have to stay away from women like that. They don't like the path of the Most High, and if they like you, more than likely they'll try to take you off the path. We look at what happened to King Solomon, dealing with these different women who they had other things. He had different wives from different cultures. He allowed himself whatever fetish he had, or he was trying to please them, and he allowed himself to go off the path. You see what I'm saying? So you can't be unequally yoked. You can't deal with women like that. She got to be like, she has to mirror you in your lifestyle. Let's continue on. Let's go to 21. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. There ain't going to be no heathens in Zion. The first time the planet was destroyed with water, the next time, coming real soon, is going to be with fire. According to the book of Daniel and the book of Revelations. So we got Proverbs chapter 3. Okay. We're going to build from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 1, on down to verse 35. This is instruction and exhortation to sons. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let no mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. All right, so with that, from verse 1 through 4, you have to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments in your daily life. It says, keep them, put them in your heart. Put the commandments in your heart. Because that's going to be what's going to lead you to correct liberty and happiness and peace. It's going to add on to your years. It's going to keep you from wickedness. That separation. Because in today's society, when you truly about God, you separate it anyway. Common sense tells you not to be around the things that goes on in this wicked society, especially like in the U.S. or any other, I guess, uh, Hellenized society, you know, Greco-Roman Hellenized society that they've influenced. You separate yourself from that, okay? And 3 says, "Let no mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thy heart." You got to keep them with you. You have to be about the liberty 24 hours, 7 days a week. Be about, the Most High laws and liberty. That's the only way you're going to gain the true liberty and understanding, is to live it. And you're going to find sight with Xavier, as we say in Amharic, and God, as we say in English, or the Most High to be exact. You're going to find favor with the Most High by being about that liberty, being a man of living law, statutes, and commandments, because a lawless man is a man that's in trouble. Because that man thinks he could do whatever he want to do, and don't want nobody to correct him. He feels he can do whatever he wants to do. Thus, what seems wise to a fool ends in his death. Okay, so go down to 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance, with the first fruits of thine increase. So, when people lean to their own understanding, you have some people, they might think, I don't know, making some statues, painting the statues, and worshiping the statues. Better yet, they might feel, because they're leaning into their own understanding of things, they might decide to sacrifice their very own children or somebody else's children to those statues, which history in fact showed that people used to do that in the past in history. They worship Moloch, which is some type of giant owl statue, different bull statues. People would sacrifice their kids to statues. They would have a pit in front of the statue, deck the statue with jewelry and different things, and they would chant, and they would take the children and either slit their throats or just throw them into the fire. That's man's leaning to his own understanding, because he thinks that his statue that he made with his own hands really answers his prayers. And Satan in the background of the statue laughing. So follow common sense, sound right reasoning that's found in the oracles of the Most High. Going up, 9 says, honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the first fruits of thine increase. In the ancients, the tithes and offerings went to the Levi tribe because they didn't have land. They stayed among the tribe of Judah, and Benjamin stayed in the area of Judah as well. So their gold, all their food, they had cattle, it was given to them. That was the culture, because they were 24 hours, 7 days a week priest. But you give it to the Most High, your first fruits, because tithes and offerings was like wheat and crops and different things that you need. if you live in a faraway land, you could have some things there, sell them and take the money and buy things there. You know, when you got to Israel or whatever, or Africa or wherever, and buy them whatever they needed and give it to them. So it's just, the tithes, the first fruits, is just helping your fellow, really your fellow African Hebrew, Ethiopian Hebrew. You know, because the temple is man, and the church is when two or more people are gathered together to study and build and worship the Most High. It doesn't really have nothing to do with a building, really. In Christ, he was outside most of the time teaching. He wasn't inside of a building or a structure. So let's continue down with 10. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth he correcteth, even as a father the son is whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. Yeah, so sometimes we do things, you know, we do right and we get blessed. You know, you give and you get blessed for giving. You give, and then the next thing you know, you have even more blessings coming in. You know, but sometimes it could be otherwise, or you could do something wrong, and something happens bad, and you know what it is. It's just, you know, the chicken's coming home to roost. You know, you did something bad and you're getting punished for it, and you know what it is. So accept correction. You know, that's a man with knowledge, wisdom, and understand accepts correction for what it is. It just makes you a better person. All right, but man who has knowledge, wisdom, and understands things from a spiritual perspective and from reality is always happy, because he's in the reality. He's not caught up in the matrix system that's set up to destroy him and his people. All right, so 15. Let's go up to 14. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and gain thereof than fine gold. And that's the understanding. You see what I'm saying? 15 says, she is more precious than rubies, and all the things that canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is every one that retaineth her. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth, by understanding hath he established the heavens. By his knowledge and depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. Okay, so you know, wisdom, it puts us ahead of the games that's being played on the minds of the masses. Wisdom lets you dissect the falsehood from the truth and reality of things. For instance, Esau didn't have wisdom, but Jacob did, and it benefited him. You know, so it's not wise to follow the ways of the world unless you worship the world, because that's what's going on. Satan's society is extremely temporary and not reality, whereas the kingdom of the Most High is forever. Right, so 21 says, this is Proverbs chapter 3, verse 21 on down to 35. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt not lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. So at 24, the wisdom, knowledge is the light. That's what it's saying. And all fear will be wiped away from you. You'll dwell on safe ground and not dangerous ground, because you won't be around the danger, even though the whole planet is set up as a trap and they parasiting off the righteous. You have knowledge and you know where to go and where not to go, versus the person who rejects knowledge. Go down to 25. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thy hand, do it. Say unto thy neighbor, go and come again. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. So what this is saying, you always give credit where the credit is due. If the person deserves an award, give that person the award. Don't be afraid to show love where the love should be shown. It's okay to bless people. You want to be blessed. Don't be greedy. You know what I'm saying? If you have something, why wait till tomorrow? You got plenty. You know, you want to be stingy. I don't want to share. That's ignorant. What about the days and you was hoping that you could be blessed because you was struggling? Always be quick to bless people. Don't be selfish. All right, so 29 says, devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So, you know, if you have a neighbor, and that neighbor is going through hard times, struggling for whatever reason, and maybe they're very extremely low on cash, have a hard time feeding the family, they're struggling. You got plenty of money, you got plenty of food. The only common sense thing is to offer that person some food. I mean, some people don't want help, but if the person's willing to take the help, go ahead and bless them. If you bless, there's nothing wrong with blessing them. Everybody could eat. That's just extremely rude. Your neighbor, you know, starving, and you don't offer them nothing. If they're helpable, then it's okay to help them. Give them some food. Buy them some food. That's really a common sense thing, even though that's not, a lot of people don't think that way nowadays, because they've been infiltrated in the mind and have become self-centered. But the self-centeredness is not the logical way or the original way of man, especially not the African. You see what I'm saying? And don't wage war on somebody, attack somebody for no reason. That's wicked, and you putting yourself in the harm's way by doing that. Okay, so and never, 31 says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose not his ways, for the forward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. I'll stop right there. Don't envy these wicked people who are running these wicked governments of the planet, who have all the money, who are going around killing innocent people. committing genocide, stealing people's resources, different things, lying on the news. Don't envy them. Don't envy their ability to print money and ability to hire and fire you. Don't envy their lifestyle, their worship of cars, money, clothes, their sodomite sexuality, their TV sitcoms, or their vast estates. Don't envy none of that, because it's wickedness. Why would you envy a wicked man? And enviousness is the persona of Satan anyway. So that's one of the personalities of Satan. So you need to get that out of you. If you are an envious person, that's not knowledge. That's foolishness. And the wicked, the Most High doesn't hear their prayers. There's a verse in the Bible, more than one, but explains that when the wicked pray, they're only praying to themselves, and JAH don't accept their prayers. Their prayers are abomination, because JAH don't accept no homosexuals' prayers. Your prayers are abomination. You're just praying to yourself, and that's about it. So the wicked, they're not heard. 32 says, "For the forward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorner, but he giveth grace unto the but he giveth grace to the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the proportion of fools." Because the meek, we know that the meek will inherit the earth. You see, so all these people who have these billions of dollars in their house, they have that, but their house is cursed. Their house is cursed. Not because they have billions of dollars. Because if you're an upright person who has billions of dollars, it's going to show, because you're going to do the right things with those billions of dollars. If you're upright and you're a billionaire, you do what you're supposed to do, your house won't be cursed. You see what I'm saying?